Hi, English learners. Welcome to our English Offline podcast, our first episode. My name is Alma and I am from Venezuela.
My name is Tabi, and I am from Venezuela too.
Woo! Today, we will talk about all the challenges that we face as a non English speakers living in London.
Plot twist, a lot of challenges, guys. I don't know if it happened to you, Alma, but I always thought that I could speak English until I moved to the UK.
And then the accent.
And
hit.
then the accent. I have like lots of stories to talk about the accent because I was like, yes, of course I can speak English. I can understand everything. But I moved here. I was like, girl, you're wrong. Like
the American English has nothing on this British accent.
Like definitely with the music that I learned English is not related to this. Like,
Same.
Did it ever happen to you that you said a word like,
Yes, on the phone, and like sometimes people pronunciating things, and I was just like, what? Like it was just very hard. I love British accent. Don't get me wrong. It's just that we are raised in Latin America, maybe with a more American accent, because it's nearer. So we're nearer to the US. But in general, like for me, even like certain words that they cut like in the end, and I was just like, even this the like funniest thing about like water, for example. My husband used to say, I said water. I'm like, no.
not here.
Water. So there's no pronunciation of any like anything, like the ¿cómo se dice consonante? Ahorita se me... Ya va.
Consonant.
Consonants, no. Any vowels or like, they just got, it's just like a whole word all like directed. So it's just very, very hard for me sometimes to understand. Now it's after 4 years, I think we've managed, but has it happened to you with like a certain word or expression?
A lot. Yeah, especially because what you said at the beginning, with the American accent, we feel that it's slightly easier, especially when you're working. Like your ear is kind of used to, okay, the words are less harsh.
Yeah.
But when I moved here, it took me a while. A funny anecdote is that I was working as a waitress in a restaurant, and someone asked me like, oh, do you have a bottle opener? And I was like, what is that? Because in my mind, a bottle opener is a corkscrew, right? And I spent like 20 minutes trying to figure it out.
Oh my God. So bottle opener was
it's like a corkscrew to open a bottle of wine. So it was so difficult to understand. And also that's when your brain start working better because, okay, this is the context. She has wine.
Exactly.
Okay, maybe this is something to open the wine, right? So it was kind of funny situation.
the different ways.
3 times. What was she?
Oh my God, what was it she
Asking
meant?
for.
Like for me as well, I don't know if it happens to you. Like I've been saying like a word all the time and then I believe that's how you say it, right? And then because people don't want to like be rude, they don't like correct you, but then then in a moment it's just like, okay, Alma, you've said this like 3 times already, like I need to like, because you're in when I was living in Dubai as well, everybody spoke English, so we needed to speak English. Basically my life was 99% in English, was crazy. And then I used to say like I am a very emotional person, so I tend to sugarcoat and sugarcoat and sugarcoat. And my friend was like from the Philippines, she's like, okay, you've said this, it's not code, it's coat. And I was like, oh my God, so my whole life has been sugarcoating.
Like, you were like coding, programming stuff, Alma, like with all the...
Exactly, she's like sugarcoat, and I felt so stupid. She's like, I didn't want to say it, but I just want you to improve. I'm like, oh my God, like 10 years learning English for nothing, and it's just so funny.
I think the most beautiful thing is like everyone can understand you. Like when you work in an international community with people from everywhere, it's like, yeah, we know that you're not sugarcoating stuff, but it's nice like to get someone to tell you like, hey, by the way, because so many words sound similar. It's like coat, then you have the code, right? Like,
and the code is like, it's just like different but similar, and people tend to be very nice, to be honest. Like I'm glad that here people, they try to understand you anyway, no matter if you're pronouncing different. But something that for me is really funny, and I don't know if it happens to you as well, Tabi, is like, so sometimes I'm speaking like, oh yeah, with this American accent, sometimes even with the British accent, if I'm speaking to a client and stuff. And then there's a moment where my Latino accent goes out, like Sofia Vergara, I love her. But she makes this, like in Modern Family, this like literally very, very Latino accent like this. Sometimes it just goes out. Like in the end of the day, I'm already like speaking like this. And everybody's just like, well, you've been speaking very good lately. And then just, bah.
And I feel that's very important because it's understanding like we all have different accents, and that's great because it means you can speak different languages.
Exactly.
And I feel something beauty about learning a language is not being scared of making mistake, because at the
Exactly.
beginning I was so scared, like, oh, I don't want to speak English in public, I don't want to talk to
Yeah.
people. But now I'm like, whatever, they can understand.
Exactly. You just need to jump in.
Did it ever happen to you that you had a situation where you were afraid of speaking or saying something, and then you say, I need to say it?
I think when I was younger, it used to be like, oh my God, like I'm gonna make, when I came to the UK for the first time, I was 15 in like a 2-week trip. And I was a bit like shy to just say something. And then I heard my Italian friends who were like in the same group as me, they were just like talking and saying things. I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna speak. And that's it. And like people tend to be, as you said, very friendly and understanding. There's some people who would mock your accent, and I don't mind, to be honest. If you mock my accent, I would laugh with you, because it means, as you said, that we know other languages. And obviously, even if I think I'm great speaking English, I know I have an accent when I listen to myself. And this happens as well to some friends that the other day they were saying like, oh, make a speech instead of like speech. And I was just like laughing because I'm like, I don't want to laugh, but like, it's funny. The A for us Latinos and Spanish speakers, the S, we say S instead of S, speech, and we say speech. So it's just, that's very, very common. It happens to my husband as well all the time. Like, he just doesn't pronounce the S alone. He puts the E before. So I'm like, it's fine. I think it's funny.
Yeah, and also what you say is like, is the accent is beautiful because it means that you can speak another language that you're learning. But what you say is key. Is not being afraid of speaking.
Yeah.
Because also sometimes you tend to judge yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, I'm not saying this correctly, but just do it. Like, just go with the flow.
Just go with the flow. Because I've met people who are like, oh, until I speak perfectly, I'm not going to speak to anybody.
No.
Guys, no. And if you need to speak perfectly and learn, please go to English Live. We have amazing classes. That's like a bit.
We will teach you all the bad words.
Exactly. No, and the good words as well. But no, honestly, I think that you just need to just jump on it. Like, even on other languages, I've learned Italian, I know a bit of Russian. So, and even in France, I know a bit of French, but I just tend to just say the basic things like bonjour and this and that, and doesn't matter.
Yeah, and also you need to fake it till you make it, right? Like, it's not until you're speaking that you realize like how many things you can say.
Exactly. Everybody has their own, like, you can make a mistake, everybody can laugh at it, and we can just, for us, it's funny. I don't think you should take it personally. It's just, like, you are not a native speaker, and it happens to everybody as well.
And also, you know what I love? When I try to translate phrases from Spanish, like, we have this saying, right? Like, they're weird, but they make sense in Spanish. But when you translate them to English, then people look at you, it's like, okay, maybe it doesn't sound that well, right? Like,
this is so funny. I have one. This is very funny as well. With my British friend, I used to be like, oh, you know what? In Spanish we say la vida es una, no? La vida es una, disfruta, like YOLO, basically. And then I used to say it in English because I thought it was the same thing. It's like, life is one and life is only one. And then she, after like 3 times, she was like, Alma, like, do you mean like you only live once? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is crazy. Like, and then she only said like life is one because for her it was funny. And now I'm like, wow, it's just something that we just translated from Spanish,
Yeah, because when you translate things directly, it's like, okay, it makes sense. But also that's why it's important when you understand the culture.
Yeah.
Because things, they are different depending on the context, on the city, or for example, here in London, like there are so many stuff that people say, like, for me, like, okay, I'm going to a toilet, I'm going to the loo. Like, explain to me, like, how on earth do you know what is the loo, right?
Exactly. And certain things that I still now I'm learning how to say. For example, the thing for the trench coat. For me, I didn't even know how to search for it. I saw everybody with a trench coat, very nice, and I'm like, how do I search for this in Google to buy it? I'm like, a jacket for the rain is a trench coat. I'm like, oh my God, like this is what it is. And the same with trousers, for example. I say pants. Like, I want some pants.
Are a different thing in the US.
Exactly, and in the UK as well. Like, everything is so different. That's beautiful as well. In Latin America, we say things super differently. Like, and it doesn't mean the same sometimes. And you make these mistakes, but you also learn a lot of things that you keep adding to, your knowledge and the way that you speak in English. So it's more cultured as well.
And also when you live in the city, it's good because you get to spend time with more people that tell you different things because every English-speaking country, they have their own words. It's like here, like, okay, some people say, let's have brekkie. I was like, what is brekkie? Is that cookie? What's that?
A breaking, no, it's a breakfast, but it's like cute. You know, the British people tend to do these things where they like they
Shorten the
shorten
word, yeah.
words, and I think it's so cute. It's like what we do in Spanish as well with like despacito and
Things are
like
like little.
pequeñito, you know. So it's cute that sometimes like. But have you ever made like a very embarrassing like mistake in
All
English?
the time, yeah. There is this one. It's very funny. Don't laugh at me. You know, I was in
already
having dinner with some friends, right? People from everywhere: Italy, Lebanon, Venezuela, whatever. We were talking, and I was saying, yeah, because in my country we have all these animals that are amazing, and I say, then we have crocodiles. And my friends were looking at me as like, oh, we never heard of that animal. It's like, how come you never heard of a crocodile?
crocodile.
And I was just saying so confident. And literally after like the third time, another friend who speaks Spanish, do you mean cocodrilo? Oh, yeah, but actually in English is, how do you say it in English?
Crocodile.
Crocodile. No.
Crocodile.
Crocodile.
No, crocodile.
Now we have the word of the day.
Crocodile. That's the word of the day. Crocodile. No, but it's hard. I know. It's
Very
like-
hard. And then it was like, oh my God, I cannot even pronounce it. So that was very funny. They laughed for like 20 minutes. And I was like, but I'm saying it right. And I was like, girl, just saying it in Spanish. It's fine. Everyone will understand.
No, that's so funny. Like we always have like these mistakes that are so funny. Like for me, I just laugh at the fact that some people might be like, "What are you saying?" But then when people speak Spanish as well, and they make like these silly mistakes, for me, so it's so cute. I love it. Like it's
And
different.
I think with every language, you can always find like a translation for something. It was like, yeah, it sounds quite similar, you know, with French,
Yeah.
Spanish. I'm always guessing the words. I'm
Exactly. Like what's happening? Like for me, for example, it was very hard, and it's still hard to remember how to say the enchufe, which is like the
connector.
the
The
connector.
plug,
For me,
yeah.
it's like the connector. It's like no, it's the plug, and I'm like, oh my god, plug. I still, I can't have it in my mind. For me, it's the connector or el enchufe. Like it's something so that's very Venezuelan, I think.
Yeah, that's
I don't even think they say it in other parts of Latin America. For us, it's el enchufe, and that's it.
You know what was funny for me as well? Like, how do you say when you have trousers with check? Like,
With what?
okay,
With check?
tartan trousers, right?
The what?
Tartan? Have you
Tartan?
seen it? Yeah, so basically it's
so
the
the
pattern. Like,
squares?
exactly. So I was like trying to find those trousers and I was like, I want the trousers with the boxes. I was like, what? With the checks? Because of course I don't know how, like in English does have a name. It's a pattern. Tartan, they mean like, oh, you mean tartan? I was like, whatever.
Yeah,
Like
that
very
whatever.
specific stuff because when you translate from your language, then
Yeah.
you realize that it's not the same.
Yeah, because in Spanish we tend to like we do a sentence and we explain what this is. Here they have names for things. So like it's like a tartan trouser or like a trench coat, and for us it's like
Long jacket.
Long jacket para la lluvia. Like we don't have like a name for it, or like impermeable. That's
We
another
have a
one.
name, poncho.
A poncho, huh? Like that's
We have
different
different
things.
words.
Different words. No, but it's funny, and I love to learn these new things all the time. I think that obviously doing like English classes is very important. Like there's people who don't think English is important, in our countries, and it's just like, why would I use it? I live here. Like I would never go out. I don't want to like live abroad. You can use it for everything. You can speak to someone from Japan, from Russia, from Lebanon, and like you don't need to like think about another thing. Obviously Spanish is getting, like the second most like spoken language in the world right now, but I think English is always going to be like, if you want to like communicate with anybody, is the easiest way.
And also, what I really love about when I was doing classes was having the chance to speak with someone that was correcting me, because also you want to speak about real life situation. Come on, like, of course, like it's important to know the grammar and a more academic side of the language, but it's very good for you to have this situation. Like, how do I go to a shop and ask for some trousers,
Exactly.
right? Like, how do I do that? Like, if I'm at the airport, how do I get instructions?
Yeah, for a coffee. How
For
do
a
I ask
coffee,
for
like
a coffee?
how do I ask my coffee with sugar or things like that? They're
Exactly.
very important, and it's not until you are talking like you get the real,
the grab of it,
The grab of it, yeah.
But what's funny? Like my husband, he came to the UK. He knew nothing about English. It was so funny. We were in the plane, and I'm like, okay, so how's your English? I studied English translation, so my whole background is in English. And he was like, well, Monday, Tuesday, and I'm like, oh god,
Okay, we're in trouble.
We're in trouble right now. And then now he goes abroad. We travel, and he's like, can I get a white Americano, please? And I'm like,
You're like,
what is white Americano, first of all? And then he's like, Americano with milk, and I'm like,
you haven't spent too much time in London.
This guy has been to Gales all the time. I'm like, what is a white Americano? People in Greece were like, what? I'm like, coffee with milk, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like,
He's such an East Londoner now. It's like, where is my flat white, my old Americano, please?
macchiato, please, if you can. Like, this is so funny. Like, I just, and you get into that vibe, and I think it's very interesting when you live in a country where you need to speak English, and like sometimes this is something I ask a lot of people. Do you think in English, Tabi, or do you dream in English?
Actually, no, I haven't never. Actually, that's a good question. Do you hear your own voice when you're dreaming? That never happened to me. So I don't dream in English. I don't even know in what language I dream. I just see a lot of images.
And that's it.
And in my day to day, I don't think in English. I don't think at all. No.
I don't want to think.
I am forced to think.
No, but you know what? And this is something funny that people have told me as well. When I'm speaking with someone who's a native speaker, maybe I do think in English.
Okay.
Because we're speaking, so I'm thinking in how to elaborate like my sentences and everything. But when I'm speaking to, you that we're Venezuelans, so we speak in Spanish when we're together as well, I think in Spanish. So it depends on the person.
And it's interesting to see like how your brain can quickly adapt. For example, when I'm working, I'm doing everything in English. Like my brain is English mode because
literally.
also English is very easy when you're working. Like it's a very straightforward language. When you're giving instructions or talking to people, that's very simple. But in my daily life, I don't think in English. Really depends on my mood.
Yeah, depends. But as I was saying, like when it comes to like the end of the day, I'm just like, I can't think in English. I can't talk in English anymore, guys. Like my English is not English and it's hard, but like it's because your brain maybe is not used to it all the time. And obviously like now we have this brain where we would just come to work speaking English all the time. And then we have certain people who we speak in Spanish too, and
Yeah, and I do even have friends that say they feel more comfortable when they work and speak in English. They tell me like they find it easier, or even when they're doing personal stuff in their life, they say, oh, I find English way easier, and that means that it's so integrated in your life, especially like when you're reading books, when you're watching a movie, listening to music. It's just there, and it's so good when you have the opportunity to understand all the context, like when you hear a phrase in a movie or in a song, and you say, I know what they mean.
Yeah, exactly. Because people who sometimes they're singing certain lyrics and they don't understand, it's just like, no, it's good to understand what you're saying and what you're singing. Like for me, I used to be like very harsh on, the Spanglish is so bad and blah, blah. And now I am very Spanglish. Like sometimes I just speak to my friend, even with you, we speak in Spanish and then we turn into English and we put us like an English word and it's just like a lot of things. But that means that obviously we live in another country, we're learning another culture as well.
And it's something like your brain even like it's automatically, sometimes I don't even know like what language I'm speaking. Like you're talking to a colleague, right? You're speaking in English, then someone comes and talks to you in another language, and then you hear different things. So it's good to be always on the go because you're learning, you're like, living through different life experiences from people.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Okay, I have a very important question. Do you like English to express love? Can you express yourself fully in English?
Okay, that's a good question because for me, first, anger and love is very hard to express in English for me because in Spanish we have like there's a lot of different ways of expressing love, for example, no? So te quiero it's generally for friends and people who you cherish, like I appreciate you. Te adoro, that's something that you also say, like I adore you. We have layers. And then you say te amo, that means that I'm in love with you and this and that and blah blah. So like for me it has also been very interesting because with my non-Spanish speakers, if I say for example to my friend the other day, Italian, and I was like, oh, I love you, and she's like, and I'm like, don't you love me back? Like, what do you mean? Like, thank you or something,
Because it's very strong, right? Like for us, it has different connotations, but in English, it's more like.
Exactly. And I had to translate in Italian saying like it means ti voglio bene, like I appreciate you and stuff. She's like, oh, okay, no, me too. It's like because you said I love you, so maybe it was a bit like, I'm like, no, but like it's just, people tend to like grab it because in English, I love you is just I love you. And you say it to people that you're in love with, or maybe you have a long friendship with. But we used to say it a lot. Like you and me, we have the same type of thing of like, oh, te quiero, this and that, and blah, blah with friends. So for me, it's hard to express love in English. I think it's just very like it's shorter. Like for us in Spanish we tend to extend, and then anger, when I'm angry I start speaking in Spanish, definitely, and I start cursing in Spanish.
Guys. If she start speaking in Spanish, just run, leave the room.
Exactly. And in Spanish it's easier to, I don't know if it happens to you, you need to express it in Spanish because in English also it's very like strong.
Well, it really depends on the context. Normally I never get that angry, like it's
me neither.
Laugh nervously. Okay. No, but for me it's very different. Like sometimes if I am very angry, normally I'm not that angry. With English I can tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, okay, trying to circling. Is that a word? Circling that back?
Circling back? Yes,
Circling
circling
back.
back.
Yeah, that's interesting. Corporate English, I love it. I live for it. Now, like I find myself using like work English in my daily life.
Yeah.
Like, can I get back to you? And let's circle back. Let's take that off life. And it's like, girl, you're only paying for a flat white. What do you mean? Let's take it off life. I'm like,
RSVP,
RSVP is like,
I get back to you soon. Hope this
Yeah.
email finds you well
Hope
or
you're-
doesn't find you.
how the email finds me. Okay. But yeah, it's interesting how you like, it's like we are like sponges. When I moved to the UK, of course I was so lost. Like people were talking to me in like a unknown language. And I remember the first person that I worked with was a Scottish person. Oh my God. I thought like, guys,
Goodbye.
bye. I'm
Left
done.
the chat, or they
And
say.
the most interesting thing is like you get used to it. Like at the beginning, I was like, my ear wasn't used to the British pronunciation.
Yeah.
Normally slightly like stronger. But right now it's like, I'm fine. Like, you can understand everything because you're using it on your daily life and it makes it definitely easier.
Yeah, exactly. When it's on the phone, it's a bit more difficult for me, but like in general, I think
You know the alphanumeric alphabet, was it?
the one.
Okay, that's something funny when I like, when you are given like an instruction or something in English and they need you to spell your name, you're like alpha, beta. What is this
Yeah,
T
that you
for?
say like lion and something.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
I know.
I always get it wrong. I'm like in H and I'm like hotel, and they were like, "What?" That's the
And like it's so funny because like literally, at least my name is very short, but then my surname.
mine is not.
Guys, yeah, like no, exactly.
No.
That's what I was gonna say, Ana Tabata. But then we just say, "Oh, Alma Salvatore," and they're like, "Can you spell that for me?" And then your email, "Can you spell that for me?" And I'm like, "Oh my god!"
What is
And
S for? They have like,
the S, but you can say anything like S for Sally.
well, no. You cannot say it. Like, guys, that's the homework. You will go
What?
and learn the alphanumeric. You cannot say anything. It's like alpha. Then the R is for Romeo, I think. F is like Foxtrot.
I would say anything that
No.
comes to my mind.
Girl, like,
Guys,
no.
what?
no,
Anyway, people
you-
understand me. I just want to say that nobody has
Sorry.
ever said anything on the phone about this. So it's like an alphanumeric.
So you've
thing.
been living in a lie.
In a lie.
For the last
like sugar
5
coding.
years. Sugar coding and saying random. No.
Random thing that it was
no.
like T for table, like, yeah, of course.
T is for Tibet, actually. I think so.
Jesus
Correct me if I'm
Christ,
wrong. No.
guys.
Let me think. What is T for? But yeah, Google it.
T for T.
You need that's your homework after this, to learn the alphanumeric alphabet.
So if we could like just say something like a word of the week, for this like episode, I'd say maybe cringe.
I would say crocodile, definitely. I can say
Crocodile.
it now.
That for you, crocodile. Yeah, I think that will be.
You
with
said
C.
it right, crocodile.
Crocodile.
Cool, perfect. A plus.
We've learned A for effort. We've learned a new word for Tabi, and then we know that you guys must have like a lot of stories regarding like your mistakes that you've made as well. So we'd love to hear that. You can send it to us as well. We can just like laugh about it in a nice way, because we all make mistakes, and I think that this is the most important thing. Is just not take it so personally. Just laugh about it.
And you're learning, like, what a beautiful mistake, because you're
Exactly.
learning a language. You're
Exactly.
just trying to learn something new to communicate.
Exactly.
And I think if you could give an advice for someone learning English and is thinking, I want to move to London or any city where they speak English, what will you tell them?
Studying English live
Very
well.
important.
Very important. No, so I would say just go for it. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Definitely try it at any age. I've known people who have started to learn English at 30. It is a bit more difficult, obviously, but if you're in an environment where you are surrounded by people who would speak the language, just take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Try to always speak in English instead of Spanish, or try to make yourself understand. Oh my God, try to make yourself.
I think you said it right.
Yeah.
Make them understand you.
Make them
Did I say
understand
it
you
right?
as well. Oh my God, I have
Grammar
like a
police.
lapsus here.
Grammar police.
Grammar
We-
police.
They're coming for us. They're waiting outside.
Literally, they're like, what
Oxford
are you guys
Dictionary.
doing?
Yeah.
But we're laughing about this. So no, definitely just like jump do it, take good classes with great, professors and ways of, like learning. I know that now, like we at English Life, we're trying to also put yourself, they're doing like an AI thing where you are like in a place, in a situation, like in a coffee shop, in a shop, like where you're buying clothes, or like in a setting where you need to speak to people. And then you are, because as you said, conversation is very important, and how you deal with things that are not just like the grammar, because literally I've never learned English grammar. I always learn by watching TV, watching series in English, and just like with the subtitles, and that's how we learn.
Well,
It's been amazing. It's been a ride, and I'm so glad that Tabi was here with us, like making this more exciting and funny. And I'm sure that you guys have other as well, like experiences regarding making mistakes. And so it would be great if you can share it with us, and we can just like talk about them. And we'll see you in the next episode, where we will keep learning and being funny.
and learning how to say crocodile. Say it once again.
Crocodile.
Yes, word of the week.
We made it in sugar coating. Thank you so much, guys.